Today I'm going to talk about imposter syndrome because I've got a little bit of a different take on it. And so I wanted to share because it's actually a question I get asked a lot, which is how do you overcome imposter syndrome if that is what is holding you back from achieving your goals? And so imposter syndrome is really kind of a form of self-doubt that we experience. And I think it's pretty normal for humans all over the world to experience this at any stage in their life, their career, their relationships, wherever they're at in their lives. So if right now you are feeling like your dreams are a little bit overambitious, they feel impossible, and that you're kind of underqualified for that, I'm here to tell you that is perfect. That is exactly where you should be. All success stories have an overambitious, underqualified protagonist. Think about it. Harry Potter, he was a kid. Are you kidding me? He was not qualified to fight Voldemort at all. Katniss Everdeen, no. Frodo Baggins, Elle Woods, The Fresh Prince. I can think of so many examples of overambitious, underqualified protagonists because the thing is, you do not achieve your goal because you're qualified to achieve it. You achieve your goal because you become qualified on the journey. It is because Katniss went out into the Hunger Games and got in those terrible situations that she was ready to win the Hunger Games. Not because she was already skilled enough to do it. Her bow and arrow skills were not enough. She had to learn along the way to win it. Nobody gets what they want by waiting to feel qualified enough. You become qualified on the journey, but you have to start the journey in order to feel qualified. Don't expect that you should feel qualified for your dream now. I think it's just a total misconception that you should feel qualified. I don't want you to get rid of your imposter syndrome by making yourself the most qualified person in the room and going and getting all certifications and degrees and becoming a graduate and doing all the things that you think you need to do. That's not a good way to overcome imposter syndrome. The best way to overcome imposter syndrome is to start and become qualified on the journey. Being a bit of an unqualified mess is kind of a condition for your success. To start out being naive and not knowing what you're doing, that is exactly where you should be. And I'll give you an example. I started out as a coach 5 years ago. I was 21 years old and I had major imposter syndrome. I felt like who in their right mind will want to hire a 21-year-old life coach? And that was reflected back to me by other people too. So I was hearing this from the outside. It wasn't just my own thoughts. I once went to a wedding where somebody said to me, you don't have enough experience in your life, sweetie. You're not ready to be a life coach. Who are you to tell someone what to do? And I was so taken aback. I didn't even argue with her because it was just so hurtful because it was reflecting all of the things that I was feeling. So this imposter syndrome lasted for quite a long time. I had taken a little bit of action, but I really wasn't creating the business that I wanted to have. Not surprisingly, I didn't have very many of the tools. I was an underqualified, overambitious protagonist. And I wasn't really ready. And that's the best part. That is the best time to start when you are not really ready. You do not want to wait. If you listen to my other episode on pouncing, you do not want to wait. You want to dive right in and become qualified along the way. One time I was at an event and I remember entering the event thinking, no one's going to take me seriously. I'm only 22. How can I be a coach? I'm only 22. I'm only 22. I'm only 22. Just kept running through my head. But then I overheard someone say something that completely changed my life. She said, oh my gosh, you have to meet Sarah. She's done all of these things and she's a life coach and she's only 22. And I was like, wait a minute. And I'm only 22. Not just I'm only 22. It's and I'm only 22. How amazing. That small one word and changed everything for me because it flipped the way that I saw myself. And I could see that it wasn't a disadvantage to be 22 and becoming a coach. It was a huge advantage to me to be in this position at 22 because where so many people only end up in their 30s, 40s, 50s. And I was already there at 22. I was like, wow, okay, this is different. I hadn't thought about it like this before. So I started to see the fact that I was young as an advantage instead of seeing it as a disadvantage all the time. And I stopped focusing on who I was and I started focusing on who needed my help. Because here's the thing, imposter syndrome thrives when you focus on yourself. Am I good enough? Am I qualified enough? Am I smart enough? Am I old enough? Am I young enough? All of those thoughts just perpetuate imposter syndrome. But imposter syndrome completely fades into the background when you focus on how you can help the one person standing in front of you who needs your help. Instead of asking yourself, am I good enough? You're asking yourself, what do they need? How could I add value here? What is it that is going to make a difference in this situation? And you start putting the focus on them instead of on you. And I think that this is the biggest shift, because as soon as you can stop focusing on you, imposter syndrome has no place. If I could go back to my past self, I would tell her, newsflash, people do not care about your past achievements. They actually don't. All they care about is their future achievements. They want to know, can you help me? That's the only question that they care about. They don't care about if you've got a degree. They don't care about what kind of school you went to. They don't care about what experience you've had in your life. All they want to know is, can you help me? And if you can answer that question to one person, then you can get to work helping them. And that is going to fuel your belief that you can do this. You are going to become more qualified in the process because you're actually out there helping people in whatever way that looks like to you. Instead of sitting at home wishing you were more qualified or better, you're actually out there becoming more qualified in the process of doing the thing. I am a great coach today, not because I got certified. I did. I got certified and I have a degree in psychology. But nobody cares. Nobody asks me those things. In fact, nobody has ever asked me about my grades or my degree ever. And it always makes me laugh because I'm like, I worked so hard for those things and yet they don't matter at all, because all anyone ever wants to know is, can you help me? I've become a great coach, not because I have a degree and not because I got certified as a coach, but because I have coached lots of people. And the only way that I got good at it is by doing it. I had to start out kind of sucky at doing it. That's part of the journey, but I knew that I could help just one person. So whether your goal is to write a book and you just need to get it out there for that one person, or you're a coach like I am, or you're some kind of service provider, or you're working for your boss at work, or whatever it is that you want to go after, you are so underqualified, and that is so exactly perfect and exactly how you should be. Totally underqualified, totally not ready, and exactly ready. You do not need to go and get all the qualifications and do 100 affirmations in the mirror every day. They do not work. What works is you going out there and taking action and meeting people and connecting and helping them in whatever capacity that looks like for your goal. Imposter syndrome will die when you stop focusing on yourself and you start focusing on other people and how you can help them. If you hold back until you are qualified to help everyone, you will miss out on helping someone right now who is suffering, who needs your book, who needs your services, who needs your product, who needs whatever you've got to give this world, whatever your gift is. People are missing out on it right now. People are suffering because you're not helping them, because you're not as qualified to do everything. Who cares? I think a lot of people try to solve this imposter syndrome problem by focusing even deeper into themselves. But I want to offer that you do not need to do that. You can focus all of your energy on everyone else and how you're going to help. And that is going to build up your self-concept that you are qualified, because you will get better at it. And eventually the imposter syndrome won't even be a problem. Like, I don't feel any imposter syndrome when it comes to being a coach anymore at all. But I used to have a ton. And that's okay. I worked through it by not focusing on trying to be not an imposter. I was like, great, I'm an imposter. Let's go. So what I want you to take away from this is, if you're feeling like an imposter, that is amazing. If you're feeling underqualified, fantastic. If you don't think you can do it, awesome. Go and show yourself that you can. All right, go out there and help one person today. Ask yourself, how can I add value here? What do they need? And you will see your imposter syndrome disappear. Have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you in the next episode.